Part 1. The Value of Life, or Freedom of Choice. This section is designed to challenge the listener to fully appreciate the gift of life. The freedom to exist, to move around and see and think and feel, is impossible to quantify because there's nothing of more value other than the gift of life itself that we know of in our experience. Now, some of the reasons life is undervalued have to do with past trauma and violence that have occurred in the history of the human race and continue to persist, such as war. Viktor Frankl, a man who survived the Nazi concentration camps, is quoted, "Everything can be taken from a man, but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way." A very important concept exists between freedom and choice. What freedom is there without choice? To choose your attitude is your last resort, as in Nazi Germany. Viktor Frankl was pushed to the very last thread a man can still survive from, and he understood this better than anyone. Your attitude is your direction or focus. Viktor Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning, tells the story of Viktor's horrific experience in the hands of the Nazis, losing his entire family, mostly to the gas chambers. This incredible man survived and managed to bring wisdom to the world and gain strength from the experience. He is a shining example of just how valuable one human being can be. Not only did he survive, he used his experience as a tool to help others and to create a better world. Next, I'm going to show you an excerpt from a documentary about the Nuremberg trials. The reason is the World War II atrocities give us a vivid and lasting picture for what evil becomes when manifest in the world in its full, physical, brutal, shocking outcome. What is truly important is to recognize the incredible value of every single soul and every part of life, because it is all part of what you are. We are interconnected with each other. Every other human being on this earth is part of one family of beings. A wise human would not cut off his own finger or toe. To cause harm to other humans is akin to cannibalism. No one should want destruction of their own species.
The prosecution introduced a film called Nazi Concentration Camps, a compilation of death camp horrors which was assembled by America's noted film director George Stevens. Many of these scenes were being shown to the world for the first time and produced unimaginable revulsion. Weeping broke out in the courtroom. Women fainted. And time after time, the words of the leaders and followers who had caused it all arose from written records to condemn them. Himmler had summed up the ethic. "I did not feel justified in exterminating the men while allowing their children to grow up to avenge themselves." General Jodl said, "If we had disobeyed, we would have been arrested, and rightly so." Hearst quoted his boss Adolf Eichmann as saying, he would leap laughing into the grave because the feeling that he had 5 million people on his conscience would be a source of extraordinary satisfaction.
From the book, The End of All Evil. Simple. Truth is always simple. All people recognize truth because all people are intelligent beings. It is the nature of evil to create artificially complex ideas. It does this to hide or obfuscate the freedom it destroys. If you remove the complexities and fears from your life, you will find a plain and beautiful truth. This truth is the nature of your worth. As a human being, you are very special. You are unlike the minerals, the plants, or the animals of the earth. Nothing commands the abilities of intelligence like you. Nothing else has such complete and total ambition to satisfy dreams. Nothing else has the desire or the thirst for knowledge that you possess. You are a human being. I think it's plain to see why I pulled those two statements out of the book. They very much affirm the importance and the value of human life. They emphasize the uniqueness and the special abilities of being human. There's a recognition that there's a force working to hide truth, obfuscate truth, thereby destroying freedom. But you are intelligent. Now, let's take a minute and look at the definition of intelligence. The highest faculty of the mind, the capacity for comprehending general truths, to choose, collect, gather. I pulled this answer someone put on Quora because I liked the look at the etymology and the idea that intelligence could be interpreted to mean read between the lines. And as you can see below, I pulled out of an etymology the root gen. This is important because intelligence is often looked at to mean only smart or only logical. But this word means much more. This word describes the usage of the holistic brain. Using the left brain, that's the intel, if you take the first part of the word, or the straight info, and you commingle it with the right brain, or the gen, the birth, the right brain, which would be the creative, imaginative, intuitive brain function. The I in the middle of the word would be you. It's sort of a magic word. Intel, I, gen. So let's think of intelligence as combining the two polar opposites of our brain and thinking holistically. Not just numbers and letters. Please, in these quotes, substitute in your mind man for humans, because this applies to men and women. The value of man. To understand freedom is to understand the value of a person. Everything that evil wants is to disguise and destroy your value. All authority is created by evil men to disguise your worth. To understand your own worth is to understand the nature of liberty. Jeremy Locke, The End of All Evil. Have you ever considered that there is an active force at work in your life trying to disguise your worth? It's certainly not something that would be seen or found if you were not looking for it. What things destroy the value of individual life? In our consciousness, our conscious mind, in our actions, the things we do, what erodes the value of human life? One thing I notice Television shows with lots of death for fun is one example. Dangerous vehicles. Foods with toxins that kill hundreds every year. Sugar is a hidden killer that is rarely mentioned anywhere. Look what it does to people and how it fills hospitals with problems and wasted time. These are things that are silently destroying the value of life. There are so many of them. Here are just some amazing facts to think about. I just pulled these off of random searches on the internet. They would need to be verified, but they just point to how amazing your body is. Your body is your kingdom. Think of all the technicians and architects working on rebuilding your complex organ fabrics and all the chemicals moving around inside of these tunnels in your veins. Who are these intelligent chemists and laborers being sent like electrical senses on the internet of your body's pathways and neural networks, all under your command? 40,000 bacteria in the human mouth. Each person has around 2,000 taste buds. The human eye can distinguish 10 million different colors. The human brain has the capacity to generate 23 watts of power. Blood vessels that are present in the brain are almost 100,000 miles in length. There are 100 billion neurons present in the brain. In early pregnancy, the neurons develop at an alarming rate of 250,000 per minute. All this to say, one human life is of immeasurable value. It's interesting also to think how much you actually command of your body and how many functions that the body operate autonomously without your conscious approval. A lot of functions run all the time, your organs, for instance, healing themselves. It's like this amazing spaceship that's fully operational, and all you have to do is sit at the helm, holding on the steering wheel. It's your castle. It's your kingdom. You are the ruler. A quote attributed to Gandhi: "Freedom is not worth having if it does not include the freedom to make mistakes." Notice the parallel to the quote from Viktor Frankl, to choose one's own way. When you think of a truly amazing human being, you realize the incredible power of one individual. Gandhi's philosophy affected an entire country and left a lasting impression on the world. Another historical figure who gained respect and was known around the world for her dedication to help the sick and needy, Mother Teresa, was quoted as saying, "I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast a stone across the waters to create many ripples." If Gandhi or Mother Teresa had not had the free will to make their own choices, how could they have helped others? And how could they have affected so much change in the world? The reason it's hard to recognize the true value of human being is that we are confused in the modern age about freedom and free will. These are the determining factors for understanding our true value as beings on this planet. World War II and atomic bombs are the type of things that make human life seem worthless and disposable. This is the work of true evil. Value in the modern sense is not the value I'm speaking of, which is why I differentiate here, calling it true value, which includes free will, choice, and freedom. True evil is what destroys free will, choice, and freedom. Not just doing bad stuff or what society deems wrong. That's just following the trend or the fad. I have a bit of homework for you. I'd like you to look this up for yourself. What's a modern estimate of the United States of America? How many bombs we drop every day under the current administration? That's your hard-earned money blowing shit up. Twice every TV show. Every 12 minutes, a bomb falls in one of these countries. All our money going towards death. The sacrifice ritual, performed in ancient times, was chopping heads off every night. How different is that from destruction that comes from dropping 30,000 bombs a year? How's that peace? And not only the people that are destroyed, but I think about the land, and the plants, and the environment as well. It's destruction of life, and destruction of life is wrong. I'm going to end section 1 with a quote. It is impossible to begin to learn that which one thinks one already knows. Epictetus. And I left that quote because the next section, section 2, part 2, we're beginning to get into some more difficult things, but it's a discussion of good and evil. And it's likely that you think that you already know what good and evil are. Or good and bad. Pretty basic, right? Well, I'm asking you to rethink it and reconsider a slightly different perspective than you've probably heard before. I want to also end by saying the human mind and the body are capable of much more than you and I can conceive of. Look up on the internet, feats of amazing strength, feats of the mind, amazing willpower. You'll be amazed and astounded. The limits are not known.